welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And this is a show you all been waiting for sure. And tonight with my co-host, our guest of honor, Lady Spellbreaker. Heather, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone.
Yes, we got a house full already, and they all want to hear stuff. Grandpa Brian, Mary Wynn, Scotty Boy, Buddha did Destiny Namaste, yes, and if I missed somebody else, Lucky Stone is in the house. So thank you all for coming. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more, but tonight we're going to talk a little bit about mental health, herbs and plants and natural things out there. Now remember, we are doing this, and we're not doctors. Heather is not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. We're doing this from our own opinion and our own experiences and our own minds, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it. Is that not right?
Yes, exactly.
So just our experiences and what and you can take it or leave it. Try your own stuff. Like I tell everybody, go out and do your own homework too. This may give you an idea or a new path to go down, and that's what's so important.
Yes, it is. Because we all have different backgrounds. We all have different upbringings, different childhood traumas and wounds and all of those things. We all have different blood types and personalities. So one thing isn't going to work for everyone.
This is true. This is definitely true. And that's the thing too, and some people are just stronger that in things than other people.
Yeah.
You've always heard that where there's the guy and the woman of the house, and the woman's always saying, "Oh, I love you, honey," and the guy never says it back, and he's like, "Well, I told her 10 years ago. I don't need to do it again." Like you should remember it, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that. He's just that way. Maybe he doesn't need all that love and compassion. Maybe somebody else does. Maybe some people get offended by certain things and it just traumatizes them. Like when they were a kid, maybe their parents beat them and other people embraced it. It all depends. Some people had other traumas, who knows? And who am I to say what traumatized you? But Heather, tell us a little bit about maybe some of your traumas and what affected you some of the most mentally affecting things in your life.
I actually am a childhood abuse survivor. So, that is one thing that I have always been working on. And along with that becomes child neglect, abandonment issues, rejection. I'm actually still living with my parents right now since my daughter passed away. One of the most traumatic events a human could ever endure is to find your child dead on the floor. So not only have I suffered abuse as a child, but also in my trust issues, Scotty, too. And then every relationship, because of lack of self-love, I sought relationships with broken men and attention from broken men who in turn abused me even more. And then in my abuse, I turned to a wide variety of addictions to numb the pain out. There's very many ways I've been touching on my channel that we disassociate from our feelings, that we dissociate from our feelings and avoid all of the painful things. And life isn't always all positive. Sometimes we do have to face a lot of those things. So, I ran from all the pain and numbed it with drugs and alcohol most of my. So that in itself is even traumatic.
Yeah, and that's what people do. They will throw things at that, trying to fix themselves or I remember I had a friend, and he might have had some mental stuff going on, but we didn't really realize it, because I didn't know anything about it. And he would drink a lot. And one day he says, "Oh," he tells me, "Yeah, when I'm drunk," he says, "I drink a lot." He says, "It's like the real world just goes away and I'm good." I'm like, "Oh," like what? And all I kept thinking was, "What's so bad in your world? What?" And I didn't know. I don't know what's going on with him, but I thought he had a pretty good life. But to him, maybe it wasn't so good.
Yes. Part of it is it masks it. It makes us forget about it. And I actually, we're in the biggest mental health pandemic we've ever seen. This isn't just a virus pandemic with the Rona. This is a mental health pandemic. And it's almost like people could start looking at ways of healing and dealing with it. Because honestly, if we really think about this, is everybody taking a moment to process everything that is really happening? To sit down and stop running, searching for answers, searching for history, searching for truth, searching. And I understand there's a truth seeker right there. I understand we all want the truth, right? But are we getting lost looking for answers? Are we living in the moment? Because I just finished a book called The Body Keeps the Score
Mm-hmm.
in my channel, and it talks all about how trauma is stored in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And yoga it helps release emotions and trauma that is stored in our spine. Taking time to stretch our body out is even more therapeutic than and talking about it is even more therapeutic than taking all the herbs only go so far.
Mm-hmm.
I do teach about plant medicine, but being able to sit with ourselves and sit with our feelings and not numb them out. One of the things I've been touching on lately on my channel is social media addiction as a means of avoidance, of sitting with ourselves, processing our feelings, and the constant dopamine and adrenaline and cortisol production of running around YouTube chat rooms and social media and chatting and all. Just really think about how much information comes in our brains, in our ears, and in our eyes every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Yeah.
ask subscribers how many hours they spend running around YouTube chat rooms a day, and one girl told me 17 hours, and I said, a day or, and she said a day, and I honestly have been thinking about that all week.
Yep.
17 hours a day?
Wow. That means, that see, and the thing is like they said once before, is that the Facebook and all of them, they're geared towards giving you dopamine in your brain through
Yes.
your visual stimulation and your, hearing and stuff. So that's why people are posting things. They gotten to the point where they're posting food. Look at my meal. And then they get thumbs up. Wow. What else can I post? I'll post my hand. Click. Oh, look. And then somebody says, "Oh, thumbs up. Good for you." And they're like, "Woo, we're all good." And, and you get that all day long. And I got to do a Hey, hold on, everybody. I got to do a selfie. Yep, there, I posted it. Wow, I got 10 likes already, and and after a while, it's a habit. They got to get their phone and, gee, I might have missed something. No, okay, everything's good. And then you see them again. I missed something. Why? Why is that? Because they're getting that adrenaline rush. They're getting that dopamine boost. And that's a drug. Your body creates its own hormones and drugs. I do know that. And that is kind of a fact. And the problem is that you get it through the visual stimulation, and people have figured that out in this crazy universe we're in. We have just like a computer, with your computer, you program it with stuff, you put things in there, your cell phone, you put out apps and things to do, and then but how do you program yourself? You go to school and the teacher sits up there saying, you do this, you believe that, this is the way it is, this is facts, now we're going to have a test on it. And they're programming you. Then you watch the TV and that programs you. And after a while, you're messed up.
It's almost like a slot machine. Is
Yeah.
Think of it like when I listen to the Pink Floyd Money song. It's it's going cha-ching, cha-ching, and you can hear the money.
Yeah.
And like, think of a slot machine, cha-ching, cha-ching, and that's why they don't have clocks or windows in a gambling place, in gambling houses, in Las Vegas, in casinos. That's what it's called, a casino. They literally, because it's one of the forms of mind control. Nobody really wants to talk about this, but I've been off YouTube for the most part because I have been suffering migraine headaches with my own trauma. I have traumatic brain injury from being beaten in the head umpteen times.
Yeah.
And, the shock of finding my daughter cold and blue on the floor has really set me for a spin. I found peace outside, and working with my plants, leaving my phones upstairs. You can probably hear my running waters in the background and the native flutes playing, the pan flute. And I literally want to focus on what we can do and all the things I'm doing to heal trauma, not mask the pain, not run from it. A lot of the reasons people are running around the internet is because they need constant connection with other people. And this has forced us indoors. Okay, this pandemic has forced everyone inside and on their devices. And a lot of people are going to need to go out into society. I myself have never wanted to be alone or struggled with even agoraphobia and not wanting to leave my house because my anxiety is so high. And the stimulation of unpredictable people when I leave the house is so overwhelming. I actually quit smoking Mary Jane on April 1st. I've only had a couple puffs a couple times, and I didn't even like the effects it gave me anymore. So, I don't know. My emotions and my intuition is on 10, my anxiety, everything. So I've got to do everything I can to stay grounded and connected to the earth. The sun just entered Taurus today, which is an earth sign in 13 sign astrology. So we're disconnected from the natural frequency of the earth is what it is. The music is set to the wrong frequency. The social media platforms, I've been studying all the forms of mind control for several years now. And I even read a whole book about how these devices emit a low red frequency from the book, The Illusion of Us.
Yeah.
And what their social media harm lawsuits and a wide variety of all kinds of things actually that are coming up because of what the dangers of social media on our mental health, why people have so much anxiety, why there's such a rise in insomnia. I teach oracle cards at night, and some people, if I could give one gift to the world, it's people that fall asleep listening to my oracle cards. That makes me feel absolutely wonderful because it means I'm helping people relax in a world that's saying, go here, go there, go support these people. How much time are we spending on ourselves versus helping others and being there for everyone else? I really had to do some self-evaluation lately.
So what's the one thing, for a person who struggles with that, mental health stuff, what's the one thing you would do for yourself that if you could tell everybody that would help them the most, or maybe they could find or inspire them?
Do some yoga.
Yeah,
yoga and breath work is new addiction. Activating the parasympathetic nervous system is the cheapest, quickest way to calm yourself faster than smoking anything will ever do, faster than popping a pill. But the pharmaceutical companies will not want you to know this information.
Yeah,
This is
they'll
ancient.
say that's true. Is the simplest, freest thing you can possibly do is they're never going to tell you that.
Exactly.
But that is right. Well, and then there's other things. What about those people who have trusted the doctors and taken the drugs to help them out? And they say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I don't feel right, blah blah blah. I've gone to the doctor, I got the stuff, and they're taking it and they're still saying, I still don't feel right. But and what should they do? What should they do? What can they do for themselves?
I think nature walks is very, very important. Stepping away from these social media platforms
Mm-hmm.
and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I don't give a darn about Twitter, Minds, all of it. It's when I honestly have been on at the top amount of pills the doctors had me on.
Mm-hmm.
I was on 13 medications, mood stabilizers, sleeping
Mm-hmm.
pills, Ambien, Lamictal mood stabilizer, Wellbutrin, Zoloft for an antidepressant. I will tell you, I was up to 200 pounds. I was emotional eating, and not one of those pills took my depression away. It literally, like, I think getting away from these stressful social media platforms and not consuming all this news, fear mongering, and things, that I think is the biggest leading cause of depression these days. Because there's so much going on that we can't control, that's out of our complete control, but we do have the power to walk away from it. We have the power to click these three little dots and take control of our news feedback. If they keep saying breaking news, Donald Trump has been charged, you click these three little dots. You don't click on the video, and you don't put that in your eyes or your ears. You click these three little dots,
Mm-hmm.
and you say not interested. I literally just unsubscribed and have been. I'm going to support people from my lady other channel that I have, and I
Mm-hmm.
am focused on only learning healing, yoga, breath work, and
Mm-hmm.
and astrology. Those are my passions. So I literally just took complete control of my news feedback.
I think you said the right things. You need to take control of yourself and your life. Your life isn't their life. It's just like going to the store and they have product placement and they put it everywhere. But you don't think they don't do that with news feeds and stories and headlines, breaking news headlines,
God,
and you go, wow, what is that? And of course, we're humans. We get, oh, look, butterfly, and you get distracted. Especially nowadays, our attention span is not very long, so we're all over the place, and that's why they went from long videos to shorts, 15-second shorts, because anything more than that, people don't want to even pay attention, and they can't focus, and it's like going to the store without a shopping list. And who's done that? Yeah, I've done that on an empty stomach too. And the next thing you know, oh, why did I buy that chicken? Why did I buy that? Oh, this and that and the other. Why did I buy these things and these munchies and this stuff and that stuff? I didn't need all that. All I came in here was for some laundry detergent, or whatever it is. And because it's product placement and flashy things. Oh, you need this, could help you. This is better. And that's the thing. We as humans get distracted, and next thing you know, oh, I need that. I gotta have that. That would be good. That'd be helpful. And we're addicted to that kind of stuff. Too much, I say. And what about your is that can how can you break out from that system, besides pressing a little button? Maybe you should go on the nature walks like you said. uh, anything, you know, else you could do? What's on your list of things to do to break away?
I'm actually, oh darn it, I deleted YouTube off my main phone. Can you believe it? That
Wow.
was cord cutting right there. Cut. I just said the heck with the YouTube app. It's gone. I
uh,
my life and my time back. I've been doing breath work every single morning,
mm-hmm.
every day,
Yep.
because that is honestly what I'm learning from the mediums.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a beginner medium class
Mm-hmm.
right now to be able to connect there with grieving mothers whose children have passed away, and
Mm-hmm.
all the ways our children speak to us. And they say to connect the most to the spirit world, breath work. Get quiet,
That. Yep.
everyone out, and focus on your breath
Mm-hmm.
completely. Who is in
Yeah.
charge? Like you said, we can control our news feed. Who's in charge of
Mm-hmm.
our clicky little fingers? If nobody's getting an award for the fastest fingers in the universe when we go to heaven,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's getting an award for that. For the most
Right. Well,
subscribers, or knowing the most everything, or having the most money, or
mm-hmm.
what all we collect in our houses, no one's getting an award. Who is in charge of our fingers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We we are.
we are.
So
What?
we
Well,
have
and
to time to do the breath work. I'm going to share this uh, nervous system reset. Uh, it's a guided 22-minute breath work. It's an
yeah.
excellent one to do in the morning. There's also a self love one. I
Mm-hmm.
understand none of us like being alone.
Mm-hmm.
We are, a lot of us, like you, have been alone besides your dogs.
Yeah, except for my dogs. Yeah.
And we learn to be comfortable sitting alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, asshole, and everyone coming in.
Well, and so that's the thing. Some people are real comfortable with being alone, and other people are not. I'm very comfortable with being alone because I've spent a lot of time alone and I'm used to it. Actually, I'm happier kind of alone sometimes. Whereas, I need very little, you know, time with other people to be happy. I mean, going to work now is plenty. And I see one or two people a day, maybe if I'm lucky, and that's enough. And I got my dogs, and that's pretty much it. But I don't freak out. I don't go mentally insane over it. Um, but I think the kids nowadays, I'm not worried so much about myself or us older people because we grew up on, dial phones and just sitting home or playing outside or something in the dirt. What about those younger people? What would you say with them? Because they're in school, they have tablets now. They don't they communicate with each other on Facebook and text messages all the time. These kids aren't having conversations. I've seen them. They sit around in a group and they're all on their phone chatting with each other across the table. And I'm like, hey, put your phones down and talk. Use your mouth. You
There,
know.
this world is becoming more and more disconnected, and I'm very, very, very concerned about the teachers. I actually do not watch the news, but the
Mhm.
way spirit works is my dad and mom might be watching the news downstairs. I spend a lot of time alone in my room because I'm into
Mhm.
spirituality and they are not, and they watch a lot of TV and I do not. Um, so I socialize with them when I go down there. I'm trying to spend more time with them, but I walked in and the principal of one of the schools was on the news and said that the children have come back with more behavioral health problems, more behavioral issues, attention problems, and that since the pandemic, because probably many of them were forced into their homes where their parents let them sleep until 10 and didn't do school homework with them every day and
Mhm.
didn't, because most of the parents weren't taught how to homeschool.
Mhm.
Most of
Yeah.
the parents weren't taught how to teach their children. Most of the parents don't know how to do that stuff. That was
Mhm.
something that that the teachers are trained to do. So I'm really concerned about the youth and how much time they spend on gaming platforms. I've seen an abundance of younger viewers on YouTube. Some of them are under 12.
Yep.
So the channels are not marked 18 and over, and they should. They're talking about adult things that little ears shouldn't be hearing. And if your channel says no, it's not meant for kids, that means it's anybody between 13 and 18 can still watch your channel. I am a monetized channel, and I know if you mark it 18 and over, then you will get no monetization. So if your channel is 18 and over, then no children are you. I know the channels that I have to say, yes, I still want to watch this video. I am over 18. Those are the channels that actually have it marked 18 and up. The other channel, the other selection that says, no, this isn't meant for children. I'm really, truth seekers, vaping is a problem. Children doing drugs, children being put on ADHD medications. They do not have ADHD. The whole world has been traumatized. People are not acknowledging we have all been traumatized by this pandemic. Period.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, the thing is when kids are young, they need to play with other kids. They need to have more activities to stimulate their brain, to socialize. This is when they're learning socialization. They're learning all these things. But if you took that same child and put them in a room, their bedroom, and said, here, we're going to put you in here, give you a computer, and you stay in there all day so you don't get sick and you can't go outside and play and this and that and the other. Well, that kid is going to lose its ability. It's not going to get all those brain functions that it should have at the right times. I mean, when I was a kid, we got kicked out of the house and said, go outside and play. And we did. And then we played with other kids around the block, and that was our entertainment. We didn't sit in a house and play or sit and invite all the kids over to watch TV. I mean, they can watch TV at their own house. We never, maybe a little bit once in a great blue moon or something. We got this much TV, and my mom complained about it even then. Well, you don't, watching more than an hour or so, that's bad for your brain.
Exactly. My mom, I was just telling my mom and dad, they did not text me when I was young. They hollered for me. They said, Heather, it's time to get home. And I was supposed to be within earshot of them.
Yeah.
We ran around in the woods barefooted. We rode our bicycles. Honestly, there's a big rise in health problems, not just mental health problems, but physical, because children are sitting around playing freaking video games and on their freaking Facebook and all that stuff instead of getting exercise, physical exercise, riding bicycles, playing at the park, being around other kids. Yes, being outside.
Yeah, fresh air for the kids. If kids can't function if the thing is nowadays is everything's, got to spray that spray in the house so we don't have any smells. And then we got carpeting and we got wall paint. We got all these things in the house that give off odors and fumes that contain chemicals. It's all chemicals. And instead of getting that fresh air and the oxygen, they're breathing in chemicals all day, which it affects you too. And then they wonder, why do these kids all have asthma today? When I was a kid, I think I remember one person having an asthma thing. Nowadays, it seems like every kid's got asthma. Why is that?
Got bipolar disorder. Everybody's got, and now everybody's got autism.
Yeah,
that's the latest new one I'm hearing. I actually been doing a little research on the autism rates and bipolar and things in other countries, and like breast cancer rates in Japan are so low because they eat a lot of seafood. I'm thinking Food and overconsumption of social media is the leading cause of a lot of things going on in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Overconsumption of very unhealthy foods, processed foods, artificial foods with chemicals. Skittles can have a lawsuit now, Skittles, because of the food colorings containing high levels of titanium something. These are heavy metals.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that we eat, like lemon is an excellent detoxer. I do lemon in my daily tea. I
Yep.
eat clove of garlic every single morning for breakfast. It's a very powerful antiviral. If you
Mm-hmm.
eat garlic before anything else, it will kill all the bad stomach bacteria in your gut. Sugar is a leading cause of inflammation and lots of things. It causes all kinds of irritation in our gut, and I'm talking about processed sugars, like
Yeah.
I'm talking about refined sugars. I'm not talking about sugar in blueberries.
Yes.
I'm talking about sugar in strawberries. I'm talking about all this fake stuff.
Yes, the refined sugar. 100 years ago, a person ate 5 pounds of sugar a year. Today, they eat like 150 pounds a year. That's your entire body weight in sugar. Sugar has as much effect on your brain as cocaine does, and we don't sit around and take cocaine all day either.
Yeah.
So why would you want to load sugar down? It's like I remember back when I was eating sugar. I didn't think of all this stuff, and things like blueberries and strawberries didn't taste good because they were bitter. They weren't sweet anymore. So I'd have to load them up with sugar. Now it's like I've eaten less sugar, but now they taste sweet again because now I can actually taste that bit of sugar in them. You know what I'm saying? So you overdo your sense of sugarness, and then it keeps you craving more and more and more. Like I can't taste. It's like taste putting so much salt on something, and then to the point where you're over salted, and then everything has got to have a ton of salt on it when maybe you can't even taste the stuff and you only need a little bit, but you gotta rein it back in there.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's the more it's I actually do a lot of addiction recovery too. I've been in addiction recovery treatment centers and classes and groups for 2 decades. 20 years of my adult life I've been in and out of treatment centers and learning 2-step recovery for all addictions. I study social media addiction, emotional eating, and food addiction, gambling, any addiction. We could be addicted to watching YouTube videos. Nobody ever thought about that. Addicted to socializing, addicted to connecting with everyone besides ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
addicted to winning. We
Yeah.
actually got a book. We could be addicted to being right. We could be addicted to attention. We could be addicted to anything in the whole wide world. Shopping addiction is a huge
Yep.
one.
Yes.
And when I got in recovery groups, um, they talk a lot about cross addiction. When we
Yep.
quit, if I quit drinking, then I might replace that with something else. And
Mm-hmm.
so I honestly, Pluto is in Capricorn in retrograde right now.
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn represents addictions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to be an ending of a lot of things, and
Mm-hmm.
people are going to be forced to face the music of facing a lot of the things that we normally avoid.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Speaking of addictions, I want to ask you about what was one of your worst addictions, and how did you overcome it? And what did it do to you in the meantime while you were being affected?
Alcohol was probably one of the worst, and opiates and benzodiazepines I was
Mm-hmm.
prescribed from the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, under the influence of alcohol, I mean, I got arrested more times than any other one of the legal addictions here in America, alcohol. Um, because we're not in our right mind. Another
Mm-hmm.
stupid addiction that's not a drug is men. I used to be addicted to uh, someone else, needing someone to give me attention and love me when I
Mm-hmm.
had lack of self love and self worth.
Yep.
I settled for broken men that in turn abused me, and they also had addiction problems, and it was
Mm-hmm.
total lack of self worth. Those are probably the two most harmful. Well, those four. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I myself, as a trauma survivor, like to spend a lot of time alone because I've been in so many bad relationships and traumatic experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Opiates numbed me out completely. I was literally in like an opiate shell, and the benzodiazepines, they're kind of like hypnotics. They
Mm-hmm.
just trance you out and make you just like the Pink Floyd song, comfortably numb. And I actually found my daughter cold and blue on the floor from opiates laced with fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hit me in a lot of ways and opened up my eyes to all the things that when in my addiction and in my sickness and my wounded traumatic years,
Mm-hmm.
all of the things my daughter observed watching me do.
Yeah.
All the times I spent in prison and in treatment centers, I wasn't emotionally there. I wasn't physically there. When
Yeah.
I was an alcoholic, I was not always available. I even worked two jobs when her dad
Mm-hmm.
was gone. And so I honestly live with a lot of regrets, and I use my story to inspire people who might be for the grateful or the addict who still suffers,
Mm-hmm.
and how changing ourselves and doing our work and healing our addictions is
Mm-hmm.
not just for us, it's for the future generations. We're
Yeah.
doing it for the children too.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the other things I was gonna is on the list there to ask you is now that you were, you were being you were in this addiction and you were getting arrested and you're doing all these things that are happening. Could you at that point in time could you yourself tell how it was affecting the people around you, or were you just so numb to the world around you you didn't really care?
Um, at the time when you're
Yes,
in
at
addiction,
the time.
you can't see it. You're in what they call denial and
Mhm.
avoid.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't see it, or you see it, but then you just keep drinking and using, so you avoid it. You
Mhm.
go get high again, and then you don't think
Mhm.
about it. They say in any addiction recovery, our secrets keep us sick, our shame keeps us using, our
Mhm.
shame keeps us denying and avoiding, guilt
Mhm.
drives us to change something. And when
And,
I had clean time in prison and I was in trauma classes and I really started doing my 12-step recovery work,
mhm.
is when I started taking accountability and apologizing to my family
Mhm.
for all of the stuff I put them through, writing letters to my
Mhm.
daughter, and
Mhm.
making changes.
Mhm.
Sometimes the apology doesn't really do much. If we're going to keep doing the same thing, I'm sorry doesn't mean much
Well,
because
you would say you're sorry, but what about what did anybody ever come up to you and say, "Listen, you have a problem and I want to help you or you should get some help," or what other than, when you were in your recovery phase in prison?
yeah, no, actually, no. Lots of people. My mom sent me to treatment centers. My mom said I need help. I'm not going to help you with. She said I needed help. She said
Mhm.
I'm not going to assist you. I'm not going to give you money anymore. I'm not going to. I was forced into treatment by probation officers, by the
Mhm.
courts. I was forced into prison. I did 3 times in prison, not
Mhm.
one, three.
Wow.
And so it's there comes a point, they say, in addiction where we hit rock bottom. And sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom in order to really make a change. Because we won't see it. We don't want to see it. We don't want to acknowledge it. And nothing anybody does or says is going to do it. It's going to take us by our own will making a choice to make a change. Or if I could have saved my daughter, she'd still be here right now.
Yeah.
If I had control, she'd be here and not here in spirit.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly. Do you think that she started doing that because she's seen you doing that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And
My father
and
is alcoholic.
yeah, well, exactly, and that's the thing, and I feel bad for you because now, here you are and you're struggling because I mean, I would feel bad because it's like, hey, um, she got the idea from me and now she's not here, and and but you can't dwell on that because it's over and done, and the only thing you can do is fix today so tomorrow's a better day.
And yeah, she honestly comes to me and she does not want me to live with the guilt. Actually, one of my mediumship cards for talking to heaven says you have nothing to feel guilty about. Another one, and that one flew out first when I very first got it. And it's not your fault. So she speaks to me very loud and clear to help me when I get in those moments of feeling guilty, and even talking to the spirit world and telling my daughter how sorry I am. I get messages right back that say, "Don't feel guilty, Mom. You did your best." She's talking to me loud and clearly, and she wants me to use my voice to be a change for others, as
Well,
to use our story. She wants me to speak about a lot of this stuff, honestly.
yeah, because you might help others. This talk that you're doing today is going to be out there, and it might inspire other people to change or find somebody who needs to change, and and maybe help them out. And that's what I always look at is like, how can you help others, with this? Because by spreading your story, maybe it'll help somebody else say, hey, that's my life you're talking about, and I don't want that to happen. And you're like, the person's gonna help people, and I give you kudos for that, boy. And it's got to be a hard thing to talk about.
It is, and and with tomorrow being Mother's Day, she was my only child. She was a childhood sex abuse survivor. She was going through a transgender transformation as well. She was on testosterone and, oh my God, lots of psychotropic medications. And honestly, I can say breath work and yoga and finding the proper herbs like magnesium and all the essential vitamins and minerals. Um, I'm learning all the ways to help our body relax naturally, and I was trying to teach my daughter those things. Everything I learned in prison in the trauma classes and addiction recovery. But it just, I don't know. That testosterone made her almost insane. I could have a total medical I've already talked to a lawyer about medical malpractice, but thank you, Pamela, because I do think, yeah, when we live with guilt and shame and constant remorse, it will put us back in a depression cycle. And I could find myself crying on the floor, and then dancing with the angels a few minutes later. One song will come on and I'm crying, and the next song, like, Robert can feel my energy go up and down and up and down, and he wants to bring me back up, but life isn't always up. I have a lot of anger at the pharmaceutical companies for misdiagnosing people who have freaking trauma, for over medicating people when we could be doing breath work and yoga and using all of the amazing plants. Magnesium, L-theanine is wonderful to help relax the body. I'm taking adaptogenics like lion's mane and chaga mushrooms for helping heal the nervous system and helping heal brain trauma, because I actually have traumatic brain injury and complex PTSD. I was misdiagnosed for many years. So it's like, yeah, turmeric and ginger and that MJ, you got it. And I am actually all plant-based since almost a year. I have 1 year no cigarettes on May 28th, and I quit eating meat right about this same time last year. For hormone reasons, I was having a lot of breast pain. So, like, I do organic protein shakes. I've got one downstairs I need to be sipping on. And super greens and probiotics.
Yep.
Because our health, our mental health, begins in our gut, honestly. And our vagus nerve goes from our brain stem all the way to our stomach. It ends in our stomach. So when our stomach is not balanced and healthy, it's going to affect us in many ways. If we are not eating healthy foods and managing our stress properly with nature walks, yoga, go for bike rides, go to the park and swing, go embrace your inner child, because we all work too much. We work like we're in a Rihanna song. Work, and we want to help everybody else. And YouTube almost has become a full-time 40-hour-a-week job for me that pays very little helping others. So I have had to turn away from lots of things and hold space for myself, do my breath work and my yoga before. That's why I'm not subscribed to anybody on my channels. I'm on subscribed and supporting people from my other channel. I'm taking full control of my news feedback where there's no live streams, so I don't accidentally fall in a chat room and get lost for 2 or 3 hours. That's how I take my control of my life back. I am logged into a meditation only channel on my television, and that's where I do complete yoga, and I'm minimizing what all I'm studying. How much time am I spending? How much do I need to study every single day about spirituality, about ancient history, about all of this stuff going on all over the world, instead of being present in this moment, working in my garden and helping others? Yes, Pamela. Actually, my psychologist gave me this. I have a therapist because I need one. I'm a grieving mother who just experienced the worst trauma any human ever could, and that's finding your child dead on the floor. So I need my psychologist to help me through a lot of these things. And she gave me this map of the brain, and it says how happiness chemicals and how to get them naturally. What can we do without popping pills and going to grab herbs and smoking our brains out for all this depression and anxiety all over the world? So, to reduce dopamine, the reward chemical is eating food, achieving a goal, getting enough sleep, and having a bath. So, water, okay? That's dopamine. Endorphins are produced, the painkiller, by exercising, laughing, and listening to music. So music is another good one. And singing activates the vagus nerve. Singing and whistling. Oxytocin, the love hormone, is produced by socializing, and I'm sure we all do enough of that every single day.
Yeah, there we are.
Physical touch. Now, how much physical touch is not going on because we're socializing on the internet.
Yeah.
Jesus said if we want to heal the sick, we lay hands on them, right? For healing.
Yep.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Adult relationships are detrimental because people are sitting on their phones while they're laying in bed together. The husband's out there sitting on his smartphone watching the TV while the wife's in the other room on her tablet or on her phone, and they're not touching each other.
Mm-hmm.
Petting animals produces oxytocin and helping others. So we all are helping others by what we're doing. We have to balance how much we're helping others and helping ourselves. And what about even physical touch on ourselves? If we got migraine headaches, do we run and go get ibuprofen? Or do we tapping, like EMF? Is it EMF tapping? Tapping is emotional freedom release, EMT. Emotional freedom technique is what it's called. Tapping and massaging our own self. People want everybody else. Oh, I wish I had somebody give me a massage. I wish I had somebody to love me. I wish I had somebody to give me hugs. I sleep alone with no dog. Ever since my daughters left this world, I walk everywhere alone.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the park alone. I go out on the bus alone. I'm learning to walk and talk and be comfortable alone. But I'm actually walking with angels. So that's a whole different feeling once we know that. Serotonin is our mood stabilizer produced by sun exposure, mindfulness, and nature walks.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go for a nature walk out in the sun, we're double producing serotonin, and we don't need those SSRIs from serotonin reuptake inhibitors from the doctor. We can go get natural serotonin by going on nature walks in the sun, and it will produce endorphins, the painkiller, at the same time. And if we talk to people while we're out, then we're producing these naturally outside, off the internet.
That's right.
Outside. And they have support groups for recovery outside where we go interact with real people. We've been taught this whole pandemic to stay 6 feet away from each other when physical touch heals us. So who's the real antichrist around here? Who's the real ones spreading the message to be afraid to touch each other in the 6 degrees of separation? Media. The media is programming everyone to be afraid of each other. And people are afraid to go get mental health help. And there's a serious stigma and shame attachment to that, as well as any addiction. Masso Grower said also cigarettes was the hardest. And since I did quit cigarettes a year ago, that also has been a really hard addiction. But I just have kept my hands busy planting, keeping my hands in the dirt. I got all kinds of stuff growing.
That's what that one show you were doing that morning, and you did this walk around through your garden of all the herbs and plants and things you were growing there. And does that growing the plants? I know now Grandpa Brian, he's in the audience here, and he's growing a big garden. I know I grow a big garden, and you got a lot of plants. You're growing a lot of stuff in pots and things, and trees. Oh my gosh, tell us all about the different trees that you were growing.
I planted a lemon seed a few years ago in 2019. It's almost 4 years old now. Just to see, I like just popping seeds in the earth and seeing what happens. And I actually am a licensed medical kennel card holder. So I am actually growing hemp and other medicinals as well. So I've actually got, let me see something here. I'm growing a lemon tree, an avocado tree. I bring them in for the winter because I am in Illinois. And I've also got my mom just got an olive tree and a lime tree. Those are in our greenhouse. And I've got lemon balm, and that's excellent for calming. Lemon balm tea, or you could just eat the plant. I just pick it off and eat it. Catnip is growing out there. Catnip is excellent for sleep. Everybody's having all these sleeping problems and all this anxiety. And I'm like, what in the world? This catnip is growing out in the yard all by itself. I've got Creeping Charlie growing, and my parents are going to kill all this stuff. Creeping Charlie is a medicinal herb that was brought over here from Europe that is excellent for coughs right during a cough-epidemic, right during a planned cough-epidemic. And it's growing all over the yard. And all these silly Americans want to kill all the dandelions and the weeds. They wouldn't put harmful, cancer-causing things like Roundup on these medicines that were here long before Americans needed perfect lawns.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is there's books you can get. Here, I'm going to share screen with everybody. As soon as I find it. There you go. Here's the Creeping Charlie. It looks kind of like this. It's a ground ivy. Interesting. Yeah, I remember. I think you showed me some of that when you got that there. But
because I said, you know what?
I've seen this stuff before. Yeah, it's amazing, huh?
Yeah, I just dug some up, and I was like, you know what? You know what? I said I'm gonna save some of this before my parents kill it all. Thank you, Mary. Mary's put contact info up there.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I sent you a book, and I liked it so much. I got this book too. And you can get this book at Tractor Supply. It's a pretty simple book. It's got a lot of stuff in there. This is the same book that you got.
Herbiary. Oh, also at the Tractor Supply.
Yeah, that's where this one come from. I see it was just so colorful, and it was an easy book to get, and it's got a lot of pictures in there, and it talks all about the different plants. And I always suggest everybody go get these different type of books so that you could, in a worst case scenario, go outside and harvest things or learn about the world around you. I don't know if that Creeping Charlie is in this book, but there's everything. It's got pretty colors. It was a kind of a nice book. I don't know. You've looked through your book, I'm sure. I also got different ones for doctoring yourself up with medical herbs. It's important to get these kinds of things. Here was a good one. A Native American herbalist Bible. You should know. You got this one?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Here's a 3-part one.
Yeah. And this is my favorite of all the books. This was the cheapest book I ever bought, and it's one of the best books. And it's here, I'm going to blow this up here. This one here, and I've given a few copies of this way. It's The Magic and Medicine of Plants. It's a Reader's Digest book, and I got this on eBay for like $7.
Oh,
it was cheap, and it's a hardcover book. As you can see, it's hardcover, and it's got everything in here. Oh my gosh, lots of colorful pictures, and really nice book. Like I said, with all kinds of pictures, descriptions, what you can do with it. Cheapest book I ever got, and also one of the best. So I suggest having that on your shelves for these types of things, because if you say, like they say, things are starting to come around in this world, and if the world changes and you can't get your pharmaceutical things. What are you going to do for an alternative? And they got nothing to give you. You might have to turn to the weeds that you step on every day outside of your house, which are probably going to be better for you. But,
Exactly.
I ain't no doctor, but you should do the research yourself and see what works for you. Maybe spraying those dandelions with the chemicals, Roundup stuff, is probably not the best thing. It's probably better not to spray the Roundup on your yard. And
Yeah.
it's better to probably eat the dandelions as a salad
Yeah.
or drink them as a tea.
Even do like I've seen after I go live and I talk about these silly Americans that are spraying cancer causing agents on the
Mm-hmm.
dandelions,
Yeah.
and my AI hears me, and all of a sudden on my YouTube algorithm, I'm getting all these recipes for making dandelion jelly and how the flowers are so beneficial for us. So
Mm-hmm.
these are cards because I use a lot
Mm-hmm.
of cards.
Yeah.
I just do oracle cards on my channel. If
Mm-hmm.
anybody actually stopped and listened to my readings,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to be doing a new moon reading on Monday. And the first part, I always talk about the planets and what's going on in the skies and the energy of that. And then I do a part two. Sometimes they're 3 hours long, so you don't have to be live. You can listen to it in segments because I like to go slow. You can see as my adrenaline and cortisol gets a pumping, my words start coming out a whole lot faster. And when
Yes.
I do my messages, I like to slow down. I do have trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm healing. But this is actually herbal healing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all kinds. I pull a different one every single time. That way we're not doing the same ones over. So we're actually going to be doing mugwort on the Taurus new moon Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Mugwort. And so I read the healing information from it.
Yeah.
I've also got the Witch's Kitchen Oracle cards.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did catnip last time. I do believe nettle is the next one. And so I just pull one in a row. That way we're not doing the same thing over and over. We're learning a new herb every single time. And these are the specific herb ones I've bought. Some of the other ones give me all these spells and all this other stuff. And I want the healing information for it. I want the medicinal benefit information and the things that actually heals. And the other one I love here is the essential oil healing deck.
That's a good question. I know a few people, and they're really into essential oils and essential healing. Have you used that much, essential oils?
Yes, I use a lot of them. I actually do a giveaway for the members on my
Oh.
channel.
Mm-hmm.
Superstar members, they're the 299 level and higher members of my
Mm-hmm.
channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I make a lava bead and chakra stone bracelet. And then
Mm-hmm.
I include an essential oil roller ball. And I put lavender and clary sage in it, which is very calming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they can be used, this will tell you which ones can be used in a diffuser and which one can be used on your skin, which
Mm-hmm.
ones are good for cooking. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Oregano oil is a very powerful antiviral.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be taken in capsules. The allicin in garlic is actually what's the very, very powerful antiviral. So if you cut up your garlic clove and eat it raw, not cooking it, cut it up. I'm
Mm-hmm.
listening to this Irish lady teaching on YouTube. Her name was Danu Irish. I can't remember right now. But she said to cut up the garlic. Like what I do in the morning is start my tea, start my hot water. After
Mm-hmm.
my breath work, before I leave my room, I have to do my breath work. Brush your teeth, wash your face, use the restroom, go back in and do your breath work straight away. Nothing is
Mm-hmm.
more important.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go down and I start my hot water so I can do my green tea and such and whatever. Steep my herbs, cut my garlic up, and then I
Mm-hmm.
drink apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar with warm water,
Mm-hmm.
and I swallow my garlic with the warm water. And just I use a minimal amount of apple cider vinegar. Those kill all this bad stomach bacteria. It's important that we detox all the time because we inhale so many pollutants in the air every day, in our food, in our, like, detoxing is something that we have to do constantly. It just has to become a habit in our life. This is why we get sick. When we stuff emotions, when we deny our emotions, and all of that stuff is how we manifest dis-ease, disharmony, and dysfunction in our lives.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. There's so many people out there suffering with dis-ease, and a lot of that is caused by ourselves. We cause our own disease, and then we just don't know how to heal it. So we go to somebody else to cure us, when in fact our bodies are geared to cure itself. We just and by the plants and medicine around us, and we just don't do it. Just like you eat too much sugar, but how many people say I got to stop eating sugar, and then they do. They just say, oh, I should eat a lot more less sugar, but then they never do. Well, I should drink a lot less. Like you were talking about addictions. People are addicted to so many things that they can't quit because they can't realize they're addicted.
They can't even see their social media addiction. And they say, oh, I can't sleep. Oh, I got all this anxiety. Get the hell off of, part of my French.
Mm-hmm.
Get off of your device. Shut the mother trucker down. Go read a real book with real pages.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and get off of the constant stimulation. And then come and see me in a month after you practice moderation. Everything in life is about moderation. We're actually wrapping up a Libra full moon eclipse. We're entering the dark side of the moon because our new moon is next Friday, the 19th of May. So, like, as we're coming to a close here, even the asteroid Ceres is the mother in my Arcana astrology book.
Mm-hmm.
Read about that Monday because it just went station back direct. Jupiter has entered Aries right now in 13 sign astrology, and I think this is going to be some very powerful fiery energy. We got fires breaking out in Canada, fires breaking out, and people need to stay grounded. We can be aware of things going on in the world without being consumed by it, without being addicted to need to know what's going on all over the world. If we don't even know what's going on in our own body, our body is always trying to talk to us and tell us what we need to do. Doing yoga is so important because stretching our body out from all the tension we hold in it every day. It's so important. Stretching. Trauma and emotions are stored in the spine. In the spine. Frankincense is really good for headache, Muskrat Griffin. That's a really good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I got frankincense too. I like peppermint. Peppermint is good too. I love the smell of that. Oh man, that and the frankincense is good. And then that stuff kind of wears on you too. Because first I didn't like all those, that stuff like that. But then after a while, it's like, oh, maybe I like the rosemary too. It's like, oh boy, I like this stuff, and it kills all the odors in the house. That's for sure.
Clary sage has been my favorite that I have in my diffuser lately. And that's just because it's so calming, and it's lightly scented. Some essential oils are actually very harmful for dogs to use in a diffuser and things. So that's a thing to keep in mind for pets, people with pets. One of my favorite lines of essential oils is plant therapy, and I research on the company It's organic lines, and like this one is organic, and it says kids safe on it,
Yeah.
because the owners and the founders actually, it'll say kids safe down at the bottom,
Uh-huh.
because they accidentally put some on their child once, and it burned their child, and their child screamed and screamed.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the background of the founding of the company and why they make sure to put, warning labels. Don't, like, you wouldn't want to put raw oregano oil right on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to use a carrier oil, or you will burn you. You can hurt yourself.
Oh, okay.
Some of them are not meant to be ingested, so I've just got like, this is my beginner's box. And I just add to it. Like, I got this one, says big on it, kid safe, and it's a sniffle stopper.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one, and then it'll tell you on the back 100% pure essential oils. It's got fir needle,
Mm-hmm.
rosa, lena,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know what else, cypress. These words are absolutely tiny, and I actually have good eyes. Spearmint, cedar wood, spruce. So these are all like piney smell. If you didn't notice, cypress. So this is a sniffle stopper. So if you have sinus problems and you put some of this in your diffuser,
Mm-hmm.
kids, then it's going to naturally clear up your nose with
Mm-hmm.
things from the earth. Not Vicks Vapor Rub, not what is those cough medicines that are like Robitussin and things like that. These
Yeah.
are natural things that Native Americans and indigenous of every single country used long before all of this man-made chemicals took over.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing because just, well, yesterday I was reading in this one book I got here about the Native Americans and how they were doing. And the guy, this book is from the 1840s or whatever it is. And so it's a early one. And they're talking about um, their medicine. And he says, yeah, they have simple herbs that do work. He says, but when somebody really gets a real disease, they lay them on the floor and they dance around them and they yell at them and they scream and they bang drums and try to scare the disease. Oh my gosh, it's and they were saying these people are oh this, that, and the other. But I'm thinking, but didn't we like get all these other healing things that we use to this day from them? He's leaving out all of this natural medicine that they discovered, and we're using it to this day, maybe in a synthetic form, but we're still using it to this day because of the Indians. So I mean, I guess at that point that's when it started, because the guy's going on about you know they're doing this and they're doing that to these people, and they're not curing anything, and that's why they're dying. They're just throwing some mud on them and yelling at them and dancing around and blah blah blah. And then like what did he say then? And different tribes do different things. Like one tribe will dig a hole and they'll put hot stones in there, and then they'll put the sick person in there, and the sick person puts water on the stones and creates this hot house or whatever it is, and steam bath or something. And I'm thinking, well, we use steam baths to this day. That helps people from getting sick. That it helps you.
Uh,
And this guy's saying, that'll never work. That's crazy talk.
really? Okay, now that you're talking about this, I went to 2 Native American ayahuasca retreats
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
back in 2018. I went and did the yellow vine first,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a reason that it's done in this order. First, you detox, and I did the Amazonian tree frog poison, which is called Kambo, Kambo, and
Mm-hmm.
it's called the reset. And it literally, you projectile vomit and it literally cleans out your entire digestive system, your bowels, your lymphatic system,
Projectile vomit.
everything.
It sounds like something I seen on one of those movies. Watch out! I got projectile vomit.
I'll share this link with you. It's called Planet Combo, the reset. One's called the reset and one is called the restore, and of course it's not popping up on this screen. Planet Combo is the name of the channel, but they use it. They burn you with incense. The shaman, I've got burn marks on me. Over here, they burn you with an incense. I've got Cambo in my medicine bag. Actually, I ordered it from the tribe in Peru. They sell ayahuasca and things. That's where the plant medicine comes from. I would never do this on anyone. I would recommend that they go see a licensed combo practitioner, because I am not a practitioner. I am not a therapist. I am not a shaman as of yet. There's this is the channel Planet Cambo, but I don't know where that video went. They're gone.
Really? Oh,
videos disappear.
Huh. What about the ayahuasca thing? Do you recommend people to try that, or do you recommend them do? How was your event, and was it did it really help, or what? It seems interesting to me, so that's why I'm asking, because it's like
would. The thing about ayahuasca is it's going to bring up a lot of things. My memories, traumatic memories, abuse memories, we have a natural way of blocking things out by staying busy. We forget about it and we don't talk about it. We ignore it, all of that stuff. And they all started coming back to me in my dreams, not recurring nightmares, but they would come up, so I would release them. I do a lot of studies with Gabor Mate. He is a ayahuasca trauma specialist. He's a doctor. I listened to a lot of his videos. And so what we did is we went through the combo. We projectile vomited and defecated everything and cleansed out our entire system. And but first we did the sweat lodge. So I said that in the wrong order. We sweated out everything. And into the combo session, not drinking a lot of water. You were supposed to fast before this, so the medicine's really getting in you. So the medicine is really going to work. The whole reason is the projectile vomited is because we stuff everything. We stuff emotions. We stuff memories. We avoid, we distract, we numb, we run instead of dealing with it. And that's what the ayahuasca is going to do. There are actually different ayahuasca vines. There is and the way they did it in Albuquerque was according to the Native American medicine wheel. So I did the yellow vine first, and then I went back to another retreat, and these retreats were hundreds of dollars. And I went back and did the red vine, so it goes in order. I still have yet to complete the medicine wheel. I think I've come a long way on my journey, but there is a white vine and a black vine. If you learn the actual medicine wheel, it goes to our childhood, our youth, and then our adulthood and elderhood. So the medicine wheel, it goes through it for that reason. Like we did the yellow vine and we prayed to the 4 directions in the sweat lodge. And what I really learned from the Native Americans there is that everything is really sacred. I'll share with you Patricio Dominguez, because he's the Native American who was at the retreat. And he warns of the dangers of DMT. This is not something for people to just run out and do some. To be honest, after I talked about my experience, my daughter and her friends were making up some DMT off the streets, watching YouTube videos, make your own stuff on the internet. And it's dangerous to do that. That's not wise. You shouldn't just go and make your own medicines if you don't know what you're doing, because then they were injecting the DMT and using things unwisely, not for medicinal or healing purposes, but to get high.
Yeah, because isn't when you do the ayahuasca thing, they're doing like a ceremony. This is a thing, not just here, take some and go sit in the chair, right?
Right. They actually, no, you are not just taking this. It's a very sacred ceremony.
But that's what I'm saying. It's guided. You got people who know what they're doing. It's a ceremony, and you got guides, and it's a process. Like you said, you just don't. They don't just say, "Hey, oh, you're here for the ayahuasca. Okay, you go to the chair. We'll give you some ayahuasca. You'll see the whatever, and then in 2 hours we'll wake you up and send you out the door. It's $500, please."
Yes. No, it's no. His video here is from the channel, the DMT, the spirit molecule.
Yeah.
People shouldn't be using plant medicines unsupervised, without a shaman, without knowing what they're doing. Period.
Yeah. Well, and that's I totally agree with that. And like I says, all of the ones I've heard about is people been taking the ayahuasca. They've been taking other things, like you said, the DMT and things, and those things are done with ceremonies. They give you a certain amount. It's and you're put on a journey, so you can get information. That ayahuasca isn't something you just sit there and say, oh, I'm going to take some every night or get high off of DMT because I feel like it and blah blah blah. It was never meant for that. It was meant to for your journey, to see the other side, get some information you need, find your guide, something like that.
And it's not meant to be just getting high. This is a spiritual experience. They literally call it a journey. Like at the retreat, it is called a journey. Like going to journey. This other one is time perception 1,000 years in 15 minutes, because time doesn't exist. We go by these man-made clocks, all these man-made structures, all these control devices. We are on a time limit. Time doesn't exist. It only exists in this 3D reality. And Patricio Dominguez, he's a very enlightened man. If anybody's interested, these are some of the videos. He actually took part in a human DMT experiment from the University of Albuquerque. And they injected him with human DMT. DMT is produced naturally in our body. Natural. The way the land flowing with milk and honey is to activate our
there's the guy, there's the channel. That's a good link to watch.
He's the Navajo and Hopi. They talk about the Hopi prophecy. He just did on his channel, Patricio Dominguez, not long ago, a few months ago, the COVID prophecy and the cleansing of the planet and what's happening. Like all these people are in turmoil. There's Native American prophecies about the cleansing of this.
Yeah.
Living on right now with all these people.
Absolutely.
So into social media, they're not even taking care of the planet or themselves or the children or each other. Like, no, we need a cleansing. That's what's happening. This earth, people need a reality check as well. That's awesome, Mary.
Yeah.
good. I'm growing poppy seeds I found in my daughter's hair clippers. She had a packet, and ironically, she passed away of opiates laced with fentanyl. So I just had to just shake my head when I found poppy seeds in her head clippers.
Mm. Well, like I said, we learned so much. There's so much. Okay, people, you got to go and click these, links that you've been throwing out, because they're going to be good ones. Patricia Dominguez and the other guy there. The Indian people. We can learn so much from them. Go out, study these things. Have some creeping Charlie around your house. Patricia Dominguez. Yeah, go learn about the DMT. Learn about ayahuasca. Learn about some of these things. Go out, do the stuff if you feel it's right for you, but don't just go cook it up on the stovetop and say, I'm going to, but grow some things. Plant a tree. I love your idea. You get a seed, plant it, see what happens.
Yeah.
Just because it is.
You get a real harvest. If you
Yeah.
plant seeds on a virtual farm on your iPad, you ain't gonna get a real harvest of jack squat. You'll be looking at a picture of a lemon instead of able to eat a lemon.
Well, and that's the thing. Ooh, I'm growing. I remember when they came out with these little things. I forget what they were, monkeys or something. And you had this little years ago, and you had to press the button every so often to keep your monkey alive, or something or other it was. And I'm like, oh my God, what are they thinking next? But that was the first start of an addiction to, this cell phone stuff and the computery stuff, and but in the video games crap, the guys who'd sit there and they'd still sit there and play video games. And I can't do that. I mean, I have a hard enough time. I got books I want to read. I want to garden. I want to go outside and plant in my garden. I want to see things grow and things like that, just like you do. Which is and there's awesome things when that little plant sprouts and grows up and flowers or does whatever it does or gives you some fruit to eat. It's amazing. And that's all the drug I need is to see that happen and pour some love into that. Virtual pet, that's what it was. It was a virtual pet. Yeah, I remember the virtual pet. Oh my God, I thought that was the stupidest thing ever. Oh my gosh, who gets a virtual pet? And
All these real things, like this virtual world is taking over the minds of humanity. And my dad has a virtual farm, and he's the mayor on his township game, and he spends more time on that freaking iPad.
yeah.
And I'm like, some of my garlic is sprouting, so I just keep putting it in the ground, and the sacredness of the things that Patricio Dominguez taught at the ceremony was, even when we smoked the pipe, the sacred pipe, there was a ritual to it. They weren't just smoking to blow their brains out because they can't cope. He honestly lived a very simple life. He had a sweat lodge in his backyard. He lived very minimally right in Albuquerque. He did not have, he doesn't even go live and teach on YouTube very much.
Yeah.
His message is he's far out because they shot him with DMT. And he says he went to another world and he came back and he wasn't supposed to be here for 5,000 more years. Sitting next to that man was really far out. If you guys think I'm far out, let me tell you, he was really, I was just like in awe. And he had never even heard of speaking things into existence. He told me to get out of the wind to light the Palo Santo. And I said, well, I could just say to the wind, be still. And he said, ha ha. Like his laugh was out of this world. And it was just, me and him together were almost like bumping 5D, 9D spirits here in this human form. And that was even after that first ayahuasca retreat. I went back for the red vine after the yellow vine, and it just, and I this happened before my daughter passed away. I think spirit was
Mhm.
preparing me to connect to the spirit world because the universe knew my daughter was getting ready to leave,
Mhm.
and was showing me all the ways to connect to the spirit world
Mhm.
before she left this world,
Yep.
because I
Yep.
would know she wasn't dead. Her
Yeah.
spirit actually isn't her dead. Her spirit left her body on this floor, right here
Mhm.
on this floor. Her ashes are in the container on my altar. So I don't have to go to a graveyard to talk to her. Her final resting place is right here, and I'm cozy talking to spirits.
Mhm. Well, and see, that's the thing. Time isn't linear. Um, in the on the other side they can see it forwards and back, and we just see the straightforward thing too. So yeah, there's more to it.
Yeah.
Musgrave Friend says something. I digest a mushroom. Yeah, and I would love to find somebody who would want to talk about mushrooms. I think they're the greatest thing. Yeah, you got mushroom stuff too. Okay, that could be for another show. Today we're talking herbs, but mushroom stuff. Oh man, I'd love to go in the woods and pick more mushrooms. I like one or two kinds of mushrooms, and their mushrooms are everywhere.
Yes, they are
So
popping up all in my mulch out there in my
yeah,
garden.
I do admit you're kind of lucky out there. Like when I lived in Wisconsin, there was mushrooms everywhere. Out here, not so much. Mushrooms are few and far between. So, not because it's so dry out here. When you got dryness, they don't grow. They need damp
Yep,
and wet.
yep.
And here we don't have damp and wet. We got dry,
And you need to be
sage
out in the
dry.
morning if your dew is out there, like in the morning dew, usually,
Mm-hmm.
even in the humidity, in lots of locations, it'll be in the morning. We used to say if you want to go picking the magic mushrooms, you're going to need to go early in the morning and pick them off a cow poop.
Yeah, yeah, and I remember that kind of mushroom being out there when I lived in Wisconsin, but now here we don't even have dew in the morning. It's so dry. But anyhow, um, I have a mix of 10 mushrooms in powder. Yes, I do. I got mushroom mix too. I take mushrooms are good, people. They are good for you. Um,
Paul Stamets is the mushroom guy. If you guys want to know more, his channel, he's got many channels, and these are the ones I used to have it in my tea every morning, just like Musgrove said. But I've recently just gotten these Paul Stamets Host Defense Daily Immune Support. The
mhm.
chaga mushrooms and lion's mane are the ones good for our brain and our nervous system.
Yeah, I just bought a big bag. It's sitting over there. Otherwise, I'd show you a big bag of lion's mane. So yeah, I mix it in my drink every morning, my shake. So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up because we're at an hour and a half or so,
Okay.
and it's getting late. But I appreciate each and every one of the people that have joined us tonight. My gosh, we've had a lot of people on. Musgrave Griffin, who will be joining us on a later date for a show. And like you'll never believe, boy, she's got lots of good information. We got the Stock Explorer. Thank you for coming. And Patricia Staten, who says, what plants? Give her a couple plants that she should grow. I say, she says, what plants do I need? And I'm thinking, you'll need whatever you need and just plant something. Plant some lettuce, plant some flowers, pick the greens in your yard like the dandelions, plant a tree, plant a seed and make a tree. There you go. Lucky Stone, he's in the house. We had tons of people. They've all gone. Nina the Mystic. I know a lot of people have gone over to Max Vision and they're watching him doing some remote view. And I suggest that you go over to Max Visions, check him out, go have a little fun over on the remote view class that he gives. He's real good at it. He's been on the show before, and he's explained how you do it, and everybody can do it. Just clear your mind. You do some of that breath work that you're talking about. Clear your mind, light some of your little sandalwood or whatever you got in the background, kind of the smoke carries the brain waves over, and it's a lot of fun. I always go over there and just have a good time. Now, remember, tomorrow, get over to see Nina on the Sunday Live. She always has got a great show over there. And check her out Sunday night. We got Gaza, who's down in Australia, and he says mushroom season in Melbourne. Oh, wrong one. Why these things jump around so fast? But anyway, chat's fast here. There you go. Mushroom season in Melbourne. But anyway, and don't forget to call mom tomorrow. I've already done. Hey guys, I remembered and I sent out my card. My mother got her card today, right on time. She was super happy. And I forget who reminded me on the show to send out my card, so I did. But anyhow, Heather, what do you got planned in the next few days that people should be looking out on your channel, or you got anything going on for this?
Yeah, can I share this link?
Yeah. Do I need to press
moon reading?
Yeah, go ahead.
One is Monday. I'm gonna do oracle cards and talk about the planets and what's going on, and I do my moon cards. I do it in 2 parts, and sometimes it's a few hours, but I think it's because I like to do it slow, so my brain isn't all over the place. Here's the Taurus new moon. You are this.
Yep.
There it is. All right.
Can you share it? Go ahead and share.
Yeah, there it is. And
there it is. I don't see it.
Me?
Oh, you're putting it in the thing there. Okay. Yeah, okay, there it is. I see it. Sorry, it's a little slow on this side. Should be looking over there. But anyway, yeah, it's really good. I see Mary Wins has put Max Vision's remote view class link in there too. Go check him out. He's a late night guy. And like I said, anyway, yeah, check your channel out. All the links are in the description below. And go check out Heather's channel. It's great. A lot of times you just chit chat and it's, okay. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. Anyway, good show to watch. Sometimes you talk about all kinds of stuff, and like I said, and you're just so friendly on there. It's good to listen, and you look at the comments and you talk to people, and maybe somebody needs that at that point in time, and that's what I say. So anyway, I guess that's about it for tonight, but we'll have you on again, talk about them mushrooms.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care of yourself. That's beautiful. Nina's lighting a candle for her mom at the cemetery. I'll be lighting a candle for my daughter too, even though she wasn't my mom, but she was my only child. So Mother's Day is a touchy thing for me even.
Yeah, exactly. I know I get too caught up and busy doing things. Nina says it was her that told me about Mother's Day last week, and I appreciate that. See, I tell you, everybody's so good. I know myself, I need to take more time for me instead of working so much. But, there's just so much to do. And I try to fill up every minute of the day, either reading a book or out in the garden or doing something or working or whatever. And sometimes I just need that relax because I overdo it. I need that breath work. And I know Diane Martino is going to be joining me. I think it's next week on the show, and we're going to be talking about light language and maybe some of that breath work. She's right in there, and she also does yoga. So there you go. I have to tune in. It's all good. So remember, everybody, go out, do something nice for somebody, and do something nice for yourself.
Do something nice for you. Don't forget about yourself, because that's a real big one, Robert. Between working and helping others, we have to do something nice for ourselves too.
Ourselves, yeah.
Important reminders.
Exactly. But tomorrow, go out and do something nice for your mother. If your
Yeah.
mother is still alive and kicking, go out and do something nice for her. And
Yeah.
if not, just keep her in your memory if she's gone and passed, because she's looking on the other side at you and watching you, saying, that's my kid. And so remember, go out and be the frequency y'all want to receive, because that's what we're all about, being that frequency. And remember, so peace, everybody. We'll see you soon. Love
All right.
y'all.
Thank you.